All right, we're back for another 2,000 point battle report. Salamanders are back against a different style Tyranid list than I normally bring. There's 4 units that I wanted to make sure were not included. That was the Lictor, Hiveguard, Exocrine, and the Tyranid Warriors. I've used them pretty extensively in a fair amount of my games. The Warriors consistently, and same with the Lictor. So I want to take them out, see if I can still do well in my secondaries without that guarantee with the Lictor. Shake things up a little bit. So it's 2,000 points, full Behemoth list. Starting at max CP, I didn't spend any extra. So looking at my HQ slot, I have a Broodlord. He's the Warlord. He has Resonance, Barb, Catalyst as his power. Then I have Swarmlord with Unstoppable Hunger. I think that's what it is, the Behemoth power. And he also has, what's it called? The Onslaught to advance forward. Remember that one. And then the old One-Eye, big guy, right there. I haven't brought him for a while. 4 troop units. I have 2 Termagants, 2 Hormagaunts, minimum size of each, so 10. Brought 18 Gargoyles. In my elite slot, I have the Haruspex and 6 Zoanthropes who have Psychic Screen, just for some offensive output. I don't really have any shooting at all. Then 3 Carnifex, bare bones, all just with the Monstrous Scything Talons. Are just going to roll with old One-Eye, see what happens. A Trygon with Murderous size, adaptive physiology, and I didn't bring the. I just wanted to start the game with max CP. I was going to bring the Scythe Terrain, probably should have, but I have not played a game with just 12 CP. I want to see if having that one extra will make the difference in the end, because I usually burn through my CP like by turn 3 or so. And then our Harpy, and that is, and he also has Stranglethorn, and that is 2,000 points of Tyranids.
All right, we got 2,000 points of Salamander Successor. My 2 successor tactics are the Hungry for Battle and Tactical Withdrawal. Tactical Withdrawal allows me to fall back and then charge again. And then the Hungry for Battle gives me extra distance on my advances and my charges. So hopefully I'll be getting stuck in and doing some damage. Starting out, I got my Agent of the Imperium, my Vindicare Assassin, and then my HQs, I have my Captain in the Terminator armor. He has the Drake Blade, though, this time. And then my Lieutenant, he's got his Teeth of Terra, and my Chaplain. And the Chaplain is running, for the extra, he's running the Canticle of Hate to get better charge distance. So I'm all about getting those charge rolls in this time. For my troops, I have a 5-man Assault Intercessor. I have a 5-man Infiltrator Squad, and then I have a 10-man TAC Marine Squad with a rocket launcher and a multi-melta, and then the sergeant also has a combi melta. Moving into my fast attack over here, I got a 5-man squad of jump pack assault boys, and then a 3-man suppressor squad. And my elites have Terminators who are running chain fists, double dreadnoughts, 1 running the plasma cannon, 1 running the assault cannon, both with their power fists. Over in my heavy slot, I have 3 of my snipers, the eliminators, 3 eradicators, Land Raider Redeemer for the salamanders, so flamers. See how that works. And I got a drop pod. So that's 2,000 points, Salamander Successor.
Here's the tabletop we are playing on. This will probably be the last time we play on this setup. If you watch the past few battle reports, we've been kind of playing through this table. It's been an interesting set, so we're going to give it a go. Obviously, one last time here, then shake it up to keep things fresh. But we are playing Retrieval Mission from the 2020 mission pack. So that sees deployment zone here and there. 6 objectives, 1, 2, 3. And then on the opposite side of the table, you'll see the objectives. And I know some people say it shouldn't be on terrain, like technically we just move that underneath, but we just put it up there just so we could see it, and then we just measure from under there. So it'll fit, it's just easier to see and remember exactly where it is on top. For objectives, I went with engage in all fronts, psychic ritual, and I went with, I know I always go scramblers. If you watch any of my Tyranid reports, I always take that and engage. So just to really switch things up again and challenge my play style a little bit. I'm very comfortable with the scramblers and obviously having the lictors, but we're going to try and investigate sites this time to go along with the ritual. So And my thought process behind that is if I'm going to the middle where I'm fast and I want to be there up that way anyway, if he comes to the middle to meet me, I am very happy about that. He chose Bring It Down, obviously, lots of point potential there. Scramblers, and also Engage on all fronts. So we're going to roll off, see the deployment zones, and then we will find out who's going first. Also, the objectives per primary is Hold 1 and Hold 2. So lots of objectives to easily achieve primary.
Did you go for my secondaries?
Yep. Bring down, scrams, and engage. 6-2, the skull, which is a 1. So I will choose my deployment. Deploy first. We will come back and see what the tabletop looks like. All right, so we've gone ahead and deployed. I chose this side. Reason for that was I can hold one of the objectives while getting some cover. Aside from that, the other side would have been very open, and is open enough that I have more movement. He wanted that side if he had the choice, just because there's a lot more freedom to move with the tanks. However, it's also going to give my monsters freedom to move in, whereas if I was coming into this side with my monsters, I think they probably would have been able to have been blocked out. So it's kind of hard to say. We'll see how the match goes. So for deployment, I have my Carnifexes in the middle here. Old One Eye is just enough back that he is not the closest, being that he is the alpha beast. I think that's, or alpha leader rule. He can't be sniped out, where the other guys ignore lookout, sir. And then I have my Broodlord, the Hormagaunts, ready to launch towards the middle to start racking up the secondaries. Trygon stayed on the board. I have everything on the table. I'm just throwing stuff forward and seeing what happens. So we'll see. These guys are here. All the Gargoyles are piled up on the building along the side. Deployment edge is right there. Termagants inside there, ready to scoop backwards or forwards, depending on if I have first turn or not. These Hormagaunts holding this objective. Harpy's back here. Not sure what I'm going to do with the old Harpy yet. Might launch it forward. Zoanthropes are hidden on the side, ready to move up on this flank. And Swarmlord is tucked in there as well, ready to start slinging his monsters forward. On the Marine side, we have Eradicators up here. Or sorry, Eliminators there. The Eradicators are in strategic reserve, along with the Drop Pod with the Tac Squad. The Terminators inside the Land Raider. Chaplains with the Salt Marine Seer. Vindicare is up with the Lieutenant up on the back by the Eliminators. 2 Dreadnoughts, Salt Intercessors holding this objective. Suppressors tucked away there. And then the Land Raider and the Infiltrators, along with the Captain, holding down that side of the table. So strong presence on that end. We're going to find out who's going first. We talked about it. First turn is going to be huge in this one. Absolutely huge. It's going to be a good game. We'll see what happens. A 3 to a cock. Let's look at it.
It's mostly 5.
Is it 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Old One Eye's old school base. So, all right. That's it. Alright, that's it for Tyranids moving on turn 1. So a bit of movement. Had to carefully do this. So I metabolic overdrive my Gargoyles. Did not kill a single one of them. I found the magic rolling spot for me. Right there. And so these guys all launched forward. I had to change up around like this. Left a pocket. We measured, pre-measured the Trygon if he makes his charge after being slinged up by Swarmlord. He can get within an inch of that first guy. So I have to be careful not to do any psychic or shooting to affect them, obviously. Everyone else just moved up this way. Gaunts moved over to ensure the drop pod was zoned out from hurting my backfield. Same with these Gaunts. They just stayed still. Zoanthrope's got a 10-inch move, which put them... 5-inch advance, put them into psychic scream range of these guys in addition to the smite. Harpy moved forward because I double checked. These guys would be like 4 inches away or so from the Zoanthropes after the move 5 inches. So a pretty easy charge with rerolls. And the Carnifex group just slung up the middle. Broodlord advanced. He's tucked in the middle there. So these guys perform their investigate sites. I think that's when it happens, but they perform their action. They're in there. And then the Broodlord is about to psychic action as well. So let's start checking off some of the secondary. So we'll come back after the shooting and charging, as I don't really have a whole lot of shooting. But we'll come back after the end of Tyranid's turn 1. Ends Tyranid's turn. So what all happened over here? The Trygon jumped in, fought the guys here. He transhumaned, and I had the strat to let me reroll my wound rolls. I rolled all 3s and under, rerolled all 3s and under except 1, killed one guy, had to fight again, and then I spent my overrun and ran away. So spent a bit of a CP there. However, he did do a wound. I got to mark that up. He did a wound through on it. Over this way in the psychic phase, the Zoanthropes took out 2 of these guys, dropped them down to 1. With that far advanced move, they got far enough to get him with the with the smite, and then the lieutenant who's hiding under there took 2 wounds from the psychic scream. Got my ritual off, and Swarmlord took a wound, rolling 2 6s to onslaught the Trygon, just to get some extra range. Just really wanted to ensure if I failed that. I know I had the reroll, but failing that would have really screwed over the game plan. And Swarmlord also gave him the Unstoppable Hunger, which Transhuman just ignores, which I probably could have saved myself a roll there. But that's all right. So that's it for Tyranids turn 1. So getting 3 for my sights, 1 ritual down, and getting 3 for engage, where I have all 3. I made sure the Harpy was just past the line there with his base. So that is all 3 zones covered. So 3 points for that, 3 for sights, giving a total of 6. Now let's move into Salamander's turn 1 movement. That's the end of Salamander's moving. So over this way, Terminators jumped out, ready to blast into potentially them or him. The captain moved over this way, along with the Dreadnoughts shifting over with their flamers to cook those guys up. These guys threw down a scrambler in the Salamander deployment zone. Eliminator moved back. The drop pod came down here. I measured out the distance. He was going to come down on the lower floor, but then decided the better bet, he was going to position his guys up there. That way he has shots into the Harpy as well as these the Zoanthropes. Litany Hate went off with the Chaplain, so these guys are primed and ready to hopefully have that Chrome cleared out and then make a charge in at the Zoanthropes, or get a nice charge roll, wrapping around, and then hopefully tie them up at least. I mean, they'll still be able to Psychic, and then if he kills a couple, then their threat range will be down. And then the drop pod also comes down and blocks out the Carnifexes. So I have to kill that drop pod where their bases are, I think, just big enough to have to be an inch away. I don't think I can move around there, but it'll be tight. So forcing my hand a little bit. We'll see what happens after we come back from shooting. So that's the end of Salamander's shooting. So pretty good turn overall. My Trygon got diced up pretty badly. I don't think I paid any saves, but it was a combination of the suppressors, and they did a lot of the damage. I think they did I can't remember how they did, but they did a lot of work. Then between these guys, they helped clear out the Gargoyles and weakened the Trygon for him to get finished off. Terminators fired into the Gargoyles, killing them all down to 1, in addition to the captain. And then the autocannon from the Terminators fired in and dropped these guys down to 1, along with the Land Raider firing at them. So I'm going to get at least 1 more turn of the objective, and depending where I position him, he might live, but a lot of things I can easily commit to killing a Hormagaunt, so I may have to send some other things around, but we'll see. That's it for shooting, though. Oh, no, sorry. I guess over this way, one of these Zoanthropes was sniped right out by the Vindicator, so good rolling there. Had to spend a CP, though, to re-roll his wound roll, and then dropping the Harpy all the way down to 1 wound, so it's more or less neutered, but going to be very easy to kill in combat. So that's it. We'll come back after the charges that are about to go down. Ends turn 1 for Salamanders. The Gargoyle obviously died. Terminators are there with the captain. Over this way, the Chrome got diced up by the Assault Marines. They consolidated in to tie up the Zoanthropes, because if they can move around in position, there's a lot of hurt I can do to a few units that way. So they're going to get hit pretty hard by my Psychic, but what can you do? But that also secured them. Engage on all fronts. 6 points for Bring It Down, dicing up my 2 weak little monsters. They're gone, but now I get to hopefully hit back with some stuff. So quickly losing bodies. I knew that was going to be the play, but we'll have to see what happens. So that's it. We'll come back after turn 2. Tyranids moving. So that ends actually shooting and Psychic. I forgot to do the movement, but really I didn't have anything to shoot, and I just did a little bit of Psychic, so nothing crazy. These guys move forward. Got some big charges to go off. If these charges fail, I think that might be the nail in the coffin halfway in there. We'll see. Over this way, definitely did not roll as good as my Psychic. I failed my Psychic test. Had to re-roll, didn't have my usual Neurothrope bonus. However, it took 2 of the Assault Marines out. And there's 3 left there. Having those 2 wounds, huge. Over this way, I did get my investigate sights off with my little Hormagaunt. These guys had to overdrive, losing 3 of them just to keep the Broodlord protected. Because I need one more turn of getting Ritual off to score those 15 points. Got 10 for primaries. And then the Carnifex Brood obviously is just meandering its way. Hopefully going to hit pretty hard and bring me back on that side of the table. But we'll see. Carnifex is hard to say, hard to say. So we'll come back after the charges. He smited in, dropped a guy down to a wound. And it got Unstoppable Hunger off on the Haruspex. So hopefully that makes a huge difference. So we'll come back after all the charges. That ends the turn for Tyranid. So my combats actually ended up very well. It started out on a high note and then went quickly down. So what happened? Haruspex came in. There's only one Terminator left. I had, I think, a total of... I had 10 attacks with the Haruspex. All 10 hit, all 10 wounded. He made all of his invols, except one, spent his CP, and passed. So I'm really upset about that. But I'd multi-charge with the Swarmlord to get him in at both targets, just so that way I could position better. Swarmlord had to fight in, kill off 4 Terminators for me. Spent 3 CP, fought again, killed off the captain there. But the captain fought, attacked back, didn't do anything. The Terminator did 1 wound to the Haruspex, just putting the Swarmlord's wounds back before we forget. He is at 11. And then over this way, had some good charges. That Carnifex advanced. I couldn't charge with him. I forgot to mention that. In here, the Carnifex Old One Eyes, or sorry, the Carnifex is, and the single Old One Eye charged and blew up the drop pod convincingly, killed off the Lieutenant Old One Eye did that. They consolidate. They are now engaging these guys. Can't fight back, so these guys will still have to fight back. We kind of forgot about that. And same with the combat over here. We just got to quickly do that. We are just breaking for supper, so quickly ran through that. But I don't think a whole lot will change. Maybe I'll lose a Zoanthrope, but we'll quickly recap that once we get back. We quickly did the attacks I just mentioned. Nothing happened here. The Carnifex in the middle lost a wound, and that's it. So scoring 16 points altogether, putting me at 22-8, but we're moving to Salamander's turn 2 movement. All right, that ends movement for Salamanders on turn 2. So the Eradicators came in over here to target probably the Haruspex, maybe the Swarmlord. The Dreadnoughts move over to support the Carnifexes to stop them from just mauling about over there. The Tacticals disengage, all moved up top just to get away from the Carnifexes from attacking them this turn. Then over this way, the Jump Marines fell back, but with the tactics that he has, he'll be able to charge back in just as normal. And the Chaplain jumped over here, got his Litany of Hate off. So they're looking to charge in at them, potentially come in at the Gaunts, but just having options over there is the idea. So that's it for moving. So we'll come back after the shooting, and that ends the Salamander's turn. We just kind of rolled everything together like we were going through a lot of things. So we'll start here and work our way around. So the Land Raider charging, because it got on a 4-up D3 mortal wounds, dropped him down to 1. And then the Eradicators, I guess a lot happened. Eradicators came in, diced up the Haruspex. He is all gone, but then Swarmlord chopped in, and I burnt my last CP, getting to attack.
Haruspex did his super.
Oh yeah, and the Haruspex blew up. That's why he's also down wounds too. Killed the Terminator, because he did 3 wounds, did some damage there. So Haruspex coming in clutch when he dies. These guys fired in, chipped away at some of the Carnifexes along with the Dreadnoughts. This Dreadnought charged in, killed one, piled into there, hit back, did 2 or 4 wounds altogether with the -1 with the Dreadnought. And then over this way, the Assault Marines fell back, jumping over this way with their jump packs. Charged in, did a couple more wounds, got some good attack rolls, killed off all but 2 of my Zoanthrope. So getting rid of my powerful smite and my ability to cast a secondary power. In total, scoring 21 points for the Salamanders, 5 for Bring It Down. Didn't get anything for Scramblers this turn. Engage got 3 for that, though. The Eradicators came in just enough to gain that point. That's it. We'll come back after Tyranids. Turn 3 moving. All right, that ends Tyranids turn 3 moving, so Swarmlord obviously staying where he is. The Gaunts just moved away from the Broodlord over this way. That Hormagaunts staying there to continue checking out the sites. And then the Broodlord moved over here, just on the edge of 6. He's in within 6, that is. And he's going to come over and help, because after he does this ritual, he's free to start doing things as he pleases. And then the Gaunts stay put there. Decided that was a better move. Zoanthrope's obviously staying still. Carnifex is slugged away forward. That one's staying in with that Dreadnought. He will get hit first unless I charge him with that Carnifex. So I'll have to kind of think about what I want to do there. Keep that Carnifex alive could be a good idea. But that's it for moving. Scoring all my primaries, so getting 15 for that. And then getting that last engage, or ritual, sorry, and plus some sights will keep my points racked up. So that's it for Tyranids movement turn 3. We'll come back, see what it looks like. All right, that concludes Tyranids turn 3. So what a wild turn. So over this way, the Broodlord charged in. Not a whole lot happened there. Dropped the Chaplain down to 2 wounds. Rolled pretty bad on my wound rolls, but not a whole lot going on. Over this way, the Dreadnought predictably killed the Carnifex. Old One-Eye charged in and multi-charged the Dreadnought and the guys, because he had 2 CP left, and he was going to Born Protectors, the Dreadnought, and then I couldn't attack, so I figured go in between this guy and this guy with their rams, and I split the attacks. I killed off this guy. He had a 6-up save to make. There was one guy left, sorry, after his attacks, and I split the attacks, killed him, and just the exact number of damage through to kill the Dreadnought with Old One-Eye. Then over this way, so this is wild. So Swarmlord blew up the tank. It blew up. He rolled a 6 for the explode damage. These guys are all in range, so killed off the suppressors. Did a wound to Swarmlord. Or sorry, 6 wounds. Sorry, he's at a wound is what I mean. Then I spent the overrun. I just wanted to run him away. I just wanted to force his hand to come forward or not. I don't know. Swarmlord's there sort of thing. So he has to kind of deal with him slightly. And that's it. So scored 21 points for my secondaries and maxed it on primaries for this turn. So good turn for the Tyranids. Really got them off objectives. That was my whole goal. But we'll come back and see if the Salamanders can return the damage in turn 3. So that's it for Salamanders moving on turn 3. So no points scored for primaries. These guys moved back. They're going to charge back in, hopefully do some damage. He has 1 CP left, so he could do some mortal movement. These guys moved advance, got a solid 6. So they moved up this way, potentially cook up Swarmlord or Old One-Eye. Dreadnought moved down. This guy moved advance, only rolled a 1. These guys all moved down to head over to this objective and grab it. And that's it for moving. So we'll come back after the shooting and potentially obviously some charges here. But we'll see. That ends turn 3. So over here, the charge did not work out as well against the Broodlord. He was dropped to 2 wounds, but then fought back, killed off the 2 Marines. The Eradicators eradicated Swarmlord. I almost lived though. I made 3 of the 4 invul saves, but rolled a 1, and then he had 1 wound, so blown up. Over this way, Old One-Eye was dropped to 1 wound by the Dreadnought in the combined, actually just the Dreadnought in close combat. This guy was dropped down to 3 wounds by the combined everything there. Missed a few rolls on the Meltas and the Vindicare. So in total, you did get your max stood on Bring It Down. So scoring 4 in total for killing that Carnifex the last turn, plus then Swarmlord, but capping out at 15. And scoring 2 for Engage on all fronts. So getting 6 points there, putting total of 27. So 27 to 58, but still some point potentials with potentially Scramblers isn't over, but it's going to take some, it might be a little challenging, but we'll see. I'm going to have to kill those Eradicators. They potentially could sneak Scramblers in. I don't really have a whole lot that can get at them, but we'll come back after Tyranids turn 4 and see what it looks like. Actually just talked about the end of it. We're going to call it here. So no, regardless of what happened, I ended up maxing on all of my points for secondaries and also primaries. But we did total it up. He would have got 20 more points for primaries. There's no way I could have stopped him between either turn 4 or turn 5 to get those. But he was unable to get Scramblers no matter what. And Engage was shut down as his Chaplain was killed by the Broodlord and the Gaunts. We rolled them charging in 2. So between all that, the Chaplain was taken out. And he is also down to 1 wound as well for my Psychic power. And the Zoanthrope's moved up to get engaged there as well. And then I still have my guy getting sights there, plus these guys are a backup. And then I still have a CP to overdrive as on his turn, these guys are very, very likely dead. So that's it. So very good game on both parts. I built my list around really just scrounging up points as fast and quickly as I could while taking tons of losses. I knew I was going to get a lot of things killed, and a lot of things certainly did die. We talked about it, the only misplay that the Salamanders feel they had was these guys disengaging from the old one in the Carnifex, letting them free to run around back there and jump onto that objective and take out the Dreadnought. So losing that Dreadnought and that squad back there would have made all the difference, having them and preventing these guys from running around and doing their thing. But on a whole, Bring It Down was max. Scramblers, the other thing too is potentially these Assault Marines could have disengaged from the Zoanthropes earlier and potentially even cleared off those Gaunts. But it's hard to say what could have happened because the Zoanthropes could have easily come back. There's too many ifs about that. And also not having first turn with the drop pod too, because they could have dropped right here and zoned out a lot of stuff coming down this alley. But good game on both parts, I think. That is the end of this report. Potentially in the future, we're going to work on getting the Necrons painted up from the Indominus blocks. That is a big if, though, because it's going to be a while before we get them fully done. But that is one of the next projects, to get a new army on the table and offer something new, and also for us something new to learn and play against.